What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fantasy Aces podcast. I'm your host, Joe Bevilacqua. With me, we have Nate Holloran and Mike Hendel. Guys, finally, we got a Sunday of football. It was very exciting, a lot of high-scoring games, a lot of things we didn't expect, a lot of things we expected. I absolutely loved it. We got a lot of topics to discuss today. We're going to do 3 stars or opportunity guys that you think from week 1, how you think they will succeed in the future in fantasy. Another topic we're going to do is 3 guys that were disappointing from week 1. Guys we're kind of worried about and we don't know what's going to happen to them. And then we're going to do some waiver wire pickups. And if we have time, we're going to give out our week 2 starts or sits. Nate, how was your Sunday of football? How was it, my man? How did you do in your leagues?
Not good. Not good, Joe.
Not good.
Not at all. A lot of my players were injured, either injured or they didn't perform. It was not pretty. It's not pretty.
I'm sorry, man. If you had to pick one game though that was the most exciting for you to watch on Sunday, what was it?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Exciting for the Sunday. Wow.
The Raiders game, right?
The Raiders game was exciting, but it was like they were down, but they came up. Yeah, it was like I think the exciting game. I wouldn't say this game was exciting. I liked the Joe Burrow game. I thought that was pretty good, but the game that was exciting the most was the Green Bay Packers and Vikings.
Yeah, that was high scoring.
That was high scoring, and I loved it. I got a kick out of that, especially
Mike, how was your Sunday? What game did you really love enjoying besides your Raiders?
No, it was the Raiders. No, besides the Raiders. It was awesome. I mean, it was tough to they almost lost. They had a nice lead. They gave it up. They come back. It was a back and forth. Yeah, there was some stat like it had the most lead changes of any game in the past 5 years.
Really?
So it was. I mean, it was crazy back and forth. So.
It was a high-scoring week 1, definitely. Yeah, no, but that game was exciting. Just getting the updates on my phone and seeing on Red Zone. Definitely, that was a fantasy game, if you will.
The only part of it is that, it's hard to say that that's the most exciting game of the week because it's between 2 teams that most people consider inconsequential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So yeah, but as you commented below, Josh Jacobs, I mean, he did great. He did absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see more from him. I'm really excited for the Raiders offense. I think this could be one of their most explosive offenses that they've had in a while. So, we'll see how that goes. But I had a great Sunday. I was 4-1 in my fantasy leagues. I came back from 60 points in our league on our podcast just because James Conner couldn't do a single thing. So I was pretty hyped about that. But overall, this is a great week 1. I can't wait for week 2. But, guys, we got some news to talk about. We got lots of news to talk about. So, as we talked about earlier with Adrian Peterson, but I just want to point out, he's comfortable as a running back 1 right now in the Lions, and I'm loving it. This guy is probably going to start over Kerryon Johnson. He had, under 2 points. So, I think Adrian Peterson's definitely going to be the guy. We just got this news recently. Michael Thomas has a bad ankle sprain. He could be out several weeks. So pick up Traquan Smith, or if you have Emmanuel Sanders, definitely start him. I'm looking at Jared Cook too as the tight end. That could be a viable option. Maybe Taysom Hill. I don't know, but definitely Michael Thomas out several weeks. That could be a serious problem. I know it's not too important, but just want to point out Devontae Freeman, if he does pick a team, he has narrowed it down to 4 teams, but they did not list the teams that he has picked. We'll see what happens. I don't know when he's going to get signed. Le'Veon Bell is moved to IR. He can miss multiple weeks. I found out that Adam Gase knew that he was kind of hurt and still decided to play him. And then after the fact, when he got interviewed, he said he regretted making that decision. So that was pretty interesting to hear. George Kittle has a knee sprain. That's why he didn't do so well in the first game. We'll see how that goes. I hope it's, not as bad as we think it is, because the guy's amazing to watch, and I just really hope he's healthy. And Marlon Mack and Blake Jarwin are out for the season. Scary injury with Blake Jarwin. It was a non-contact injury, so you knew that was probably going to be a knee injury. So I feel really bad. There's a lot of high hopes for him in fantasy and just in general. So that is all the news we have today. We are going to start with our star players that we think are going to do good this year, some opportunistic players. And going off of that Marlon Mack injury, I'm going to start off with the first one, Jonathan Taylor. Yes, he didn't have a big blowout game in week 1, but he has all the share volume coming to him for the Colts with Marlon Mack out for the season. I think he's going to get more carries, more share volume. We didn't really see him running the ball a lot. He can't really run it 9 attempts, 22 yards, but we know this guy can run the ball. We really didn't know if he could catch it, but he had 6 receptions, 67 yards. So I'm really excited for this guy, especially now with Mack out for the season. We're like, oh, well, he might start week 5, but now he's going to start week 2, and I'm really pumped for the rest of this season with Jonathan Taylor. Nate, start us off with a big star that you have or opportunistic player that you think will arise in the future.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Adrian Peterson. I think that's a good one. I know last episode, or when we talked at least, we were all kind of iffy, at least when we were doing the fantasy draft. We were all like, well, he's on a new team. There's
I wasn't iffy.
Johnson.
You guys might have been
Not
iffy.
you. I was a little bit, just because it was new scenery.
I remember. I asked the question, who would you start week 1? Swift, Carry On, or Adrian? And we were all still undecided, but
yeah, I mean, Mike was definitely Adrian Peterson, still the best back in the league. Here we go. So
that's what I said. That's what I say.
I mean, Mike kept his word, so I'm not gonna say anything about that. But in general, the general idea is like, well, there's Carry On and DeAndre Swift, so you're kind of like, which one do I want to start? One's a rookie, one's been on the team, one's a legend. So like, which one? And then week 1 proved it. So I would take a good eye on Adrian Peterson for future games.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. He's my favorite running back of all time. I'll just say it out there.
He's so good.
My dad's favorite team is Minnesota. I used to watch him all the time. He's on Minnesota. That's when he was my favorite, on Minnesota. But this guy, no matter what team you put him on, just put him in the right system, and he'll run for over 100 yards. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a good pick. I really hope you are right, because I would love to see that out of him. Mike, who's your fantasy star, your bright future guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to say the Lions, one of their offensive linemen, I think their center is from Minnesota and like grew up watching Adrian Peterson, and now he's blocking for him. I read this interview where he's like totally freaked out and amazed that he gets to play with his childhood hero. It's so crazy. I love Adrian Peterson. I'm going from the Monday night game. Who is Darius Slayton?
I know.
Who is this person? He's awesome.
Well, I knew all of him, but I think, I know that.
Watch a couple Eagles games. Watch a couple Eagle-Giants games. You'll be able to find out who he is.
He's great.
I bet he turned our corners.
He's fast. He gets in and out of. Man, this guy's good. I want to invest some stock in this guy. I wish I knew about him.
I know, Darius Slayton, and I was checking on the waiver wires just for my other leagues. I'm like, I gotta pick up this guy. And I looked, but it looks like mostly people have him as a bench player already as a wide receiver. So it kind of sucks that I didn't get on that. But that's a great pick. He's fast and pretty tall too. Yeah, that's a good future star. And we'll see with the weaker side of the NFC East what he does. But that's a good pick. That's a really good pick. I'm gonna leave it off with my second guy. We all know about him, so it's not like, surprising, but Devante Adams, he destroyed the young cornerbacks of Minnesota. He absolutely destroyed them. 14 receptions, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 41.6 points. I think next week against Detroit, he will destroy again because Desmond Trufant, I think he got banged up a little bit, so they're kind of weak at their corners again. And Aaron Rodgers got that chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to outperform, give it to his guy. I'm just excited to see Adams this year. Like, I know every year he's pretty consistent dude, but I think he might, do a step above that. And I'm really excited to see what he's got later this season. Nate, who's your second dude?
Yeah, he's actually the teammate of Devante Adams. His name's Alan Lazard.
Oh,
I really like him.
We can go all 3 receivers. We can go MVS too if you want.
Yeah, no, honestly, you can. Aaron Rodgers really likes his receiving core, and he really likes Alan Lazard. This guy was amazing. He had a touchdown, a really good few receptions from Aaron. Aaron found him in the end zone. And I was looking up a stat. Aaron really likes his second wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
As much as he likes Devante Adams, he really likes targeting his second wide receivers. I think he put up around 21 points, and I had him on my bench, and I'm getting him back. He's on my waiver watch list. This guy is absolutely a monster. As of right now, I'm hoping he can continue that cycle, but I'm keeping my eye out for him. I think he'll be really good upcoming season.
I definitely agree with you. And then, bring up, MVS. He had a great, start too. And I'm kind of like, yes, the Packers offense is this good, but also they did play against a very non-experienced secondary in Minnesota because they got rid of Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes and all those guys. But, the safeties that are both stars, Harrison Smith and Anthony Harris, like those guys are still good, and they had to cover those receivers. I just think Aaron Rodgers is that good. He could just put it in the exact spot. Yes. And I pick all three of those guys. I'm excited to see that receiving core. Mike, who's your second guy?
Yeah, no, I like the Alan Lazard. He's awesome. I wonder if that'll continue. Like, are you guys starting him next week in leagues that you have? Because Adams isn't going to put up that production again this season, probably. No. So it's got to go somewhere, maybe. I don't know. Are you starting Lazard? Would you tell people who have Lazard to just, like, put him in over someone who's disappointed?
Against Detroit, I would say against.
Because I'm thinking about that. I'm in the Inside the Hashes expert league. I've got Lazard.
Mike. Do it. Start him against Detroit.
It would. I mean, it's between him and Henry Ruggs, the Trey. So I know I'll give you. I'll give you a 2 for
Saints too, right?
Yeah.
I would do
Ruggs the 3. So
that's a hard decision right there. But
you guys, Aaron Rodgers can put the ball
stop,
in any receiver's
hard
hands.
stop. Let's talk about this decision.
That is a very good question.
It is the Saints, and the game might be, but they don't have Michael Thomas, so maybe it won't be high scoring. But it's Monday night, so you got to look forward to it. I don't know. What do you guys think about Ruggs?
I didn't get to see that many highlights from him. I was more paying attention to your running back and tight end.
Yeah.
So I would have to see more out of him, but
he was. They used him a lot in the first half, and then he got injured, but then he came back, and they didn't use him at all, but he was on the field. So I don't know if that was on purpose, just as a decoy, but he ran the ball twice. He caught a bunch of kind of like squiggle route passes where you throw him in the flat, see what happens, and then he had the one bomb. So
that is true.
It depends if he's actually hurt or not, which I don't know. But all right. I'll go back.
We do have a question. Do you like MVS or Lazard more? I personally like Lazard more because MVS drops half of his passes.
Lazard.
I like Lazard just because he's like 6'11".
Yeah. Just keep an eye on Lazard because
so large.
He's so big, and I feel like he's going to be a big of an end zone threat soon to come. This is Devante Adams. I really do. He's just such a big guy.
We'll see. Devante Adams is a pretty big stud. He's got the experience, so.
But he's learning off of them. So
that's true.
Oh wait, does Ruggs count as mine? I was gonna say a 2 for here.
Make him a star. Do it.
No. I'll save that for some other time. I'm gonna go non-Raiders here. Remember we were talking about Austin Hooper, and I was like, no, I'd rather have these 2 first-round picks, Hawkinson or Fant. Well, they both, destroyed.
Man.
Yeah,
Fant,
Hawkinson and Fant, they did the same thing. I mean, they're similar players, and they did the same thing where they caught, between 50 and 70 yards, a touchdown, 5 to 7 catches. Like the future is bright for both of those guys, and I think they'll have very similar years, and they'll be high round picks next year. Like we'll be talking about Hawkinson and Fant the way we talk about the elite tight ends.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. There was this one catch that Fant had, but I didn't know it was Fant, and I'm like, who's this receiver? He's so freaking fast. And I look, he's like, oh no, Fant with another catch. I'm like, my God, this guy runs as fast as a receiver. He's just as athletic. Watch out for Denver's offense. Drew Lock did the first half. I didn't watch the second half, but the first half he played pretty well.
Without Philip Lindsay, I don't know what's going on with Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, that's a loss.
He's like one of my favorite players, so I'm really sad that he isn't on track and is hurt a little bit. So I hope he comes back. He's dynamite.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'll go with my third star, Calvin Ridley. 130 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, the last touchdown was Garbo, but it doesn't matter because the Falcons secondary is terrible, and this might happen every week. So, like I mentioned earlier before we got on the podcast, like all 3 wide receivers on the Falcons had over 100 yards. There's going to be a lot of passing yards coming from this Falcons offense, and we know Julio gets a double coverage, so guess who's going to be the touchdown guy? It's probably be Calvin Ridley. I wouldn't doubt if he had 10 touchdowns this year in fantasy, so he's my third star. I can't wait for this guy to, just continue his career with the Falcons, so I'm really excited. That's my third star. Nate, who's your third star?
Yeah, I'm going to go quarterback, and I'm going to go with my man, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, for me, did very well against a team that was just in the Super Bowl this past season. I know some people are like, San Francisco is declining, they're losing players a little bit, but their defense isn't horrible. They held them to 24 points, but it was a close game. He gave me 26. I think the chemistry is only going to get better for Arizona. Kyle Murray, DeAndre, Larry Fitz, Kenyon Drake. So that would be my third star for quarterback. At least that's who I'm going to take.
All right, no, I like that decision. I think he's going to definitely elevate his game with Hopkins now on his team, and we'll see how that goes. I mean, they won against the 49ers. Great win, first win for him in his second season. I like that pick. Mike, who's your third star?
Yeah, no, I'm going with guys that aren't no-brainer starters. Like, I think you guys are picking guys that are like, I don't think people are going to have any quarrels starting, Calvin Ridley and Kyler Murray. I think they're every week starters, probably no-brainers. I'm trying to dig a little deeper. And so I think this guy is well rostered, but not necessarily well started. And that's Robbie Anderson. I got to see him up close with the Raiders playing Carolina. And man, Teddy's good, but Robbie Anderson it just feels like he's the security blanket there. And I know, because Teddy wasn't there last year with the established players that were already there. And yeah, so I think Robbie Anderson's turning into that security blanket. I think he's going to have a top 15, top 20 year. I think he's going to get a lot of catches, a lot of yards. Malcolm Brown, yeah, I don't know. The people who thought Cam Akers was going to be large and in charge are shaking their heads. What do you guys think about that battle? Is that going to last? Like, do you think it's just obviously – because it might be the case of where Malcolm Brown was just hot. They just went with the hot hand, and the Akers might come in and steal the job back. It might just be every other week. I'm definitely going to try and pick up Brown in the league.
I was going to mention him in the waiver wires. Definitely.
Marquise Brown, he would be one of my waiver wire pickups that we're going to talk about later.
He was just running through the tackles like nothing. He read his blocks. He was doing good in the passing game and the short passing game. He actually was the starter going into the game, and they're like, I'm guessing the coach is like, all right, this guy's doing really well. We're just going to feed it to him the rest of the night. We'll see how it goes though, because they got 3 backs. They said they were going to use 3 backs, so we'll see how it goes with Cam Akers. But I would pick him up as a waiver wire as it is now. Like, he's the hot hand right now, so I agree with you. All right, guys. We have some good fantasy stars and bright future guys. It's now time to get to the disappointing people. I'm going to start it off. Listen, I love Saquon Barkley, and I adore him, and I think he's a great player, and this is not his fault at all. But the Giants' offensive line is horrendous. It's gross. He had negative yards, I think, at halftime. He was doing stuff in the passing game, but he was not doing anything when it came to rushing. And that's just based on the Steelers. Like, the Steelers have a great defense. But also now we're realizing like the Washington line is pretty good as well, and we'll see how he does. And that's 2 games out of the year. We know the Eagles have some great players and the Cowboys when it comes to like the defensive line side. So I'm worried for Saquon because for me, I got him in the first round, and you get him as like a first, second round pick, or sorry, the second pick in the first round. So this guy should be putting up great, consistent numbers, and he had under 10 points. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm worried for this guy. Like, he's on my dynasty team, and it's not his fault. I'm not really blaming it on him, but I'm scared, and I'm really worried about him for this year, especially for the value you're getting him at. Mike, who's your disappointment to start off with?
Yeah, no, I like Saquon. I think once Slayton, whoever that guy is that we were talking about earlier, once he gets going and he takes the top off, I think Barkley will open back up and be the star that we know. Slayton's so good. Disappointment. I'm so excited to see like Tom Brady, and I guess he still put up a good amount of points, but it wasn't like the 2 interceptions. People are like, wait, what? I thought it was Tom Brady. But I mean, everybody saw this game. I thought he played pretty well. I don't think there's much to be desired, like about his game, like that he doesn't have. Like he threw an amazing touch pass that down the field that went like 35 yards, and then he zipped one to Mike Evans in the end zone. I think once they work out the kinks, Tom Brady's going to be just fine, and he's fine now. So I wouldn't worry about Brady. I'm going to continue to start him.
Yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan of Brady, but like for all these teams, they haven't been playing against another team in a while. You got to give them, just you could definitely see it's obvious in like some places, like I said with Saquon with the offensive line, like that needs work, and it could take many weeks. But Tom Brady would probably get back to it, with a game that's not of meaning of importance because it was like Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. Could have,
keep starting him. Keep starting him.
So I agree with you. Nate, who's your fantasy loser?
Oh,
had a couple of them. I got to go with Nick. Yeah, that was a team loser. I got to go with though Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb did not do good for me at all. I think he was held to like 9 points. I have to check. No, actually, 5 points, 5.5 points. That was very disappointing. Kareem Hunt took the ball. He did well with it, a lot better than Nick Chubb. I think he got a few more carries too than Nick Chubb did. I mean, there's a lot of problems as you could tell, the Sunday that just passed for week 1 with all the Browns' offensive struggles. Nobody could get going at all, even with that talented roster. So Nick Chubb was just so disappointing. 5.5 points. Like that was very upsetting to watch.
Is that going to continue?
Is that going to continue? I mean, I really hope not. I think, my biggest worry would be the coaching with that team. It's always been inconsistent with the Browns. Just they got to find a way to balance it. I don't want, the guy that was supposed to start, this guy that I took, I believe it was in the first round.
Yeah, the first round guy.
And then Kareem Hunt to be like, dude, I have the carries. Like, why did you not take me? So, I'm really, really hoping it doesn't continue. In my opinion, it doesn't. I think they'll find a way. Nick Chubb will get back into his grind, just like Saquon will, hopefully, and push forward and get more points in 5.
Based on the question, Ertz, my take on it is I love both tight ends right now in the Eagles. I think they could be great, viable weapons for the Eagles going in because they kind of need wide receiver help, but why not just give it to the tight ends? I like Dallas, Goedert, and I also like Zach Ertz, both ends. Nate, you're the Philly guy. How do you feel about both tight ends? I love them. I would start both of them right now until they get more weapons.
Yeah, I mean, I know Zach Ertz was double teamed for some time in the game. But if we're just going to focus on the tight ends right now, since it's a question, I would take Dallas right now over Ertz.
Really?
As of right now. Ertz had a few drops that I'm very concerned about. That game was Dallas, like all Dallas Goedert. Like they both had touchdowns, but in my opinion, who played better that game? It was Dallas. And I know it's week 1. It's still early in the season. Eagles got to fix up a few problems on offense. But right now, Dallas Goedert has the tight, the hot hand. And, even when he's tight in coverage, he still finds a way to make those plays. And he's learning off the hand that was feeding him, Zach Ertz. And with even contract issues, I think that might be playing a little bit of a factor right now. So I would go with Dallas Goedert. I feel very comfortable taking him.
I agree with you. Just want to say this really quick before we get to waiver wire pickups. Said it before, James Conner, he's a bust. He got injured again, ankle injury. Benny Snell Jr. is probably going to take over. I would bench James Conner. Just want to put that out before we get into the next topic. All right. We are getting to now waiver wire pickups. Nate, start us off with a guy on the waiver wire that you really like.
That guy I talked about from Green Bay Packers, Alan Lazard. Right. I really like him. I think if you don't have him on your team, as most people probably wouldn't, I mean, if you do, he's starting on your bench. That's pretty good. He had about, I think, 20-something points, like I said before. So this guy, absolutely, if he produces again, I would look to pick him up very soon. If not, snag him up week 2. If he produces next week and it's around the same amount of numbers or just a little bit less, take this guy.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And honestly, in a lot of teams, I think they might already have him as a bench player. I don't even think he's like a waiver wire hyped up guy right now because I think he's actually on many people's benches. They were kind of hyped up about him before the season even started. But if he is in your league, I would definitely take him. All right, Mike, who is your waiver wire pickup for week 2?
Yeah, I like Malcolm Brown, like we were talking about earlier. I think he was the hot hand, and he looked better, and it just the offense flowed when he was in there. I feel like when you have 3 running backs, the season is kind of going to go in ebbs and flows. And right now he's the hot hand. He'll probably get more carries now, and then it probably won't last the whole season. So I would take advantage of it now, start him now, and then put him back on the waivers when they go with somebody else who's got the hot hand.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And we have comment, Josh Kelly. What are you guys' thoughts on Josh Kelly?
Who is Josh Kelly?
If any, I believe he is on the Chargers, and he is behind Austin Eckler.
Oh.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly. I'll be honest. I think I probably heard his name like once throughout that game, because I didn't pay attention to that game, but it clicked in my head as the running back. I don't know. I still really like Eckler. Joshua Kelly's not bad. I mean, I had to see more out of it. I really didn't pay attention to him. I was with Mike when he said, "Who?" I really,
Alec, but I really wasn't watching the Chargers Bengals game. I'm sorry. It was a very boring game to me. So not much was going on.
I wouldn't invest too much in Josh Kelly, whoever that is.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. I think my guy is Naheem Hines. He had 27.30 points on the Colts. I mean, he could be a receiving back now with Marlon Mack out. He's definitely no one guy. He's got a lot of speed too. That's probably going to be my waiver wire pickup guy if I want him in a league. So I'm going to Naheem Hines. We'll go back to Nate. Give us a second waiver wire pickup if you have any.
Yeah, I mean, I know he wasn't a huge impact on the LA Rams during the Cowboys game, but he looked really good. Van Jefferson. I kind of like this guy. I know
one great catch.
One great catch. I know people are like, one great catch that really doesn't prove anything. Is kind of like a who name. Mm-hmm. Like I saw him play. That one great catch could mean a lot. Again, he's just to look out, just to keep your eye on him.
Yeah.
I think Jared Goff likes him a lot. I know they were talking about some plays that they worked on during training camp and how he looked good then. So that's a name that you can keep out, keep your eye on just in case if one of your flex spots or whatnot's not working out for you. But,
right.
Just another name just to look out for.
To be honest with you. Dynasty would probably be
definitely long term.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Mike, give us your second waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, I think I'm all on the Tom Brady train right now. So I'm thinking about Scotty Miller, that slot wide receiver they have. I mean, they have Mike Evans and Godwin just drawing all the attention like magnets and paper clips. I just feel like Scotty Miller's going to be underneath. But then also they've got OJ Howard and Gronkowski. So I like the Scotty Miller pick, but I also don't. I feel like it's a curiosity thing, and if he gets another 6 to 7 catches next game, you're not like he's going to be unstoppable on the waiver wire pickup. So maybe get ahead of it and get him now if you've got a roster spot that you like. Say that you drafted like 7 or 8 Raiders and are probably dumping them now and looking for other players. Maybe if you drafted like Bryan Edwards and Jalen Richard and they aren't even in the offense really. Like if you did that, then maybe invest in Scotty Miller and see what happens. But I don't know.
It's good advice. Good advice to yourself. I like that. I'm gonna go with Jerick McKinnon, running back for 49ers. He got a lot of points against the Cardinals. I think he's getting the passing back role for the 49ers. Mostert's definitely going to become running back 1. I'm worried with Tevin Coleman right now because I think he's kind of getting bumped out of the depth chart. He only had like 2 points or something. Everyone's kind of found their place in the 49ers offense. I think Mostert's becoming more consistent, but McKinnon's probably going to be the passing back. And I see him right now as a waiver wire pickup, and he's kind of up there right now in the running back spot. So I'm going Jerick McKinnon for the 49ers. Nate, if any, do you have any more waiver wire pickups that you'd like to mention?
Scotty Miller was my next one. He took him. I'm looking out now. There's a lot of free agents. I'll be honest. If you didn't take him yet, Ben Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
that guy played really damn well. He started off a little rusty, started off slow, but then just started slinging it. Juju, couple touchdowns, great.
What about Devante Johnson? He had a great catch. Chase Claypool.
Chase Claypool. Yeah. The Steelers like a wide receiver factory. They just know how to develop them, left and right. So I was tuning into that game, and that was a good game for Ben, especially coming back from that injury for his arm.
Good game for Juju too. So, I'm glad he's getting back into chemistry. So I agree with you.
Ben loves his receivers, and I think if you need a quarterback and your quarterback is producing and you're not really comfortable with your backup that you have now, if you have one, hopefully, take Ben Roethlisberger. Take a chance on him.
All right, awesome. I love that. I love that waiver wire pickup. Mike, do you have any other ones that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, I think if you're looking at quarterbacks and the waiver wire is either, I mean, it really depends on how many teams are in your league. But like if Teddy Bridgewater is available and you don't like what you've got, because usually, is Teddy Bridgewater a top 20 fantasy producer? Yeah, maybe. And if you have 2 quarterbacks, maybe shuffle your backup roster, or even if you don't like your starter, I think he's fine. You could do a lot worse.
Do you know off the top of your head how many touchdowns he had, or like his performance against the Raiders?
He had, in the league I'm in, he had 28 points, 25 points.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah.
Ooh, we got a good question here. Deontay Johnson or James Washington, both Steeler receivers.
James Washington.
Washington.
That guy is such a monster. I love guys that get the ball and are gonna try and fight 4 guys to get into the end zone and then actually punch it in like he did. That's the sign of like a true beast mode player, when you will not be denied the end zone, and that's like that is a trait that you could count on. He will not be denied. That guy is tough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm actually gonna go with the same guy. Like you said, the physical side of him. Steelers really have a great group of wide receivers. Because I was also mentioning Claypool, and I would like to, have him, especially in the dynasty league. So, yeah, no, that's a good question to have, and we're going Nate Washington. Right now, one of my leagues, the top wide receiver that's on the waiver wire is Anthony Miller. Would you guys take this guy right now if he's available?
Oh, it depends how much you trust the Bears. Like he's a good player. He had hype coming in. There's other options on the Bears. Do you trust Mitchell Trubisky? I just feel like even if I had Anthony Miller, I wouldn't feel safe starting him. I just wouldn't feel safe. And that's what I want for my fantasy team, is to like a warm blanket. Like, here, safety, the safety of Henry Ruggs or somebody. But like, I just don't feel safe with the Bears offense.
Well, that there's fantasy football for you, because I don't feel safe right now with Saquon Barkley on my team. So there's safety, but yeah, no, Anthony Miller's kind of a little sketch to me, especially with like Trubisky. Like, that was a great game, but are they going to do it next week? Is Anthony Miller going to get the winning touchdown again? So,
ooh, I got one. The Washington tight end Logan Thomas. He had a good game, and that team is like in need of people to step up, right? Like, they've got Scary Terry, but if a tight end can step up and be a consistent weapon when coverage is drawn the other way, like if you believe in the Redskins and Dwayne Haskins, which more people are, if you don't like your tight end, your backup tight end, or you want to put another one on your roster, I think that's a good one.
I like that. I like that addition. Not really waiver wire relevant. But how do you guys feel about Jamison Crowder on the Jets? The guy had a great fantasy.
I mean, he might be still available in some like 10-team leagues.
He could be. Yeah, he could be a waiver wire, but like, just in general, this guy could be legit on the Jets. Like, he's going to be wide receiver 1. He could get a lot of points. I think he had like around 23, 24 points.
He'll have his best year this year, and he's a good player. He's not going to crack the top 20, fantasy wide receivers, but he'll be around that.
Yeah.
If the Jets are behind a lot, which
will probably happen a lot. We are getting corrected here with Nate Washington versus Deontay Johnson. Apparently, Deontay Johnson has way more targets than Nate Washington. Are we all collectively still saying Nate Washington?
I watched the game, and yes, I think they wanted to push the ball, and it was more of a priority to them to see what they have with Deontay Johnson. But I just saw a little looseness in his game that I like Washington as a player more, but they might be more invested themselves to do a Deontay Johnson. So I love James Washington, man. I love his play. That's my kind of guy, so I'm still gonna stick with it, even though I'm probably and admittedly wrong.
All right, I love it. Nate, any other waiver wires? Any guys that you want to talk about that you saw from week 1 that you just have to mention? Any fantasy relevance?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really think quarterback is a big deal. I was going to throw Gardner Minshew out there just to throw him in the atmosphere.
Talk about him, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, this guy, 14 points. No one had Jacksonville doing, winning week 1, like, at all. Like, at all. They, they're supposed to go 3-13. They're just not supposed to do good whatsoever. These guys are supposed to crash and burn. Gardner Minshew is the Baker Mayfield, but better. Like, he is built the same. He's the same athletic. He's just more accurate. He's more mature with the football. He's just so much more fluent with his style of play. I loved it. I loved watching this guy play. he's like a god in his own way. It's just so fun to watch Gardner Minshew,
especially
with what he lost. Yeah, especially with what he lost around him offensively and defensively. Just in general. So
I think he has good weapons. I think he's got DD, Laviska Shenault had a touchdown. DJ Chark, of course.
Yeah, DJ Chark.
He's got the weapons. Yeah,
Gardner Minshew. I mean, if you need a quarterback, again, it's like a Ben Roethlisberger, Gardner Minshew kind of battle right in between. Take your chance. I mean,
imagine the Jags. Just you look at their schedule, and it's not like too kind of hard schedule.
Yeah.
Like I think they play the Lions coming up, and the Texans aren't really doing that well right now either. And I think they're coming up too. So we'll see. We'll see what the Jags have in store. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do that well, but I would love to.
No, but it is. He put up some fantasy points, though.
I hope he takes them right out of top 5 draft pick contention. I hope they have to keep. I hope he plays himself into that job.
Yeah,
for good.
Yeah.
I hope so too. I love him. I love him as a personality guy, so he's great. All right, guys, we did waiver wires, stars, guys we don't like. Pretty good episode overall. Thank you for listening to Fantasy Aces. You can follow us on Spotify, watch us live on YouTube, now on Twitch, and also follow our website insidethehashes.com and our Twitter handle insidehashes. We really appreciate you guys listening in, and we love all the advice that we give you guys every week. Stay safe out there and be excited for week 2 because it's coming fast.